Actually, before we get started, I was hoping you could do something for me.
And now the final try begins. Wait, how far are we towards the... Oh, we coming up to another round. No more the knife to meet you endings. Lovely. That's good. That's good. Junpei stopped in front of the door 3 and turned around.
Ace, 7, and Lotus, could you please place your palms on the red?
Huh?
Why? If we need to get to the shower room, why don't we just...
No, we're not going inside. Once you've authenticated, step away from the door.
Why?
Please, just do it. Or perhaps you don't want to know who killed Snake and Clover.
Junpei's implication was clear. Someone understood perfectly.
Fine.
What about you, Ace, Lotus?
Very well.
Sure.
Quickly, they pressed their palms onto the red. Once they had finished, they stepped away from the door, as Junpei had instructed. 3 asterisks shone from the red's display panel.
I have this idea. I don't think this device responds to a hand placed on it. It instead reacts to a bracelet being brought close. You don't actually need a hand.
Junpei approached it and held his bracelet over the scanner. He made quite sure he didn't place his palm on it, and instead only brought his bracelet near it. The 4th asterisk appeared.
I knew it.
Just as Junpei had expected. It was possible to authenticate without placing one's palm on the red, so long as a bracelet was brought near it. Junpei pulled the lever down. Door 3 opened like a hungry mouth. 9 long seconds passed. And door shut, unfed. Junpei walked slowly back to the others, who were waiting some distance from the door, talking to one another. Sana and June had joined them as well.
Huh?
It looked as though they hadn't found a chance to break into the conversation yet. As Junpei approached, they turned to look at him, curiosity playing on their faces. Before long, the other 3 did as well.
What was that about?
How should I know?
Clearly, they were all expecting some answers.
Thanks. I appreciate your cooperation.
Clearly, they'd hoped for something more forthcoming. He continued.
By the way, Ace, would you mind if I asked you something?
What is it?
Do you know who I am?
What? What kind of question?
Just answer it, please. Who am I?
You're Junpei, of course. Who else would you be?
Unfortunately, that's the wrong answer. Actually, I'm Santa.
Well, what?
Oh, we're trying to lure out his, we're trying to lure out his condition here. Trying to check on his condition, Ace's voice was full of surprise, but was also tinged with confusion and fear. Everyone else looked nearly surprised. Santa looked especially shocked to discover he was actually someone else. If he spoke, however, Trap would be exposed. Junpei quickly continued.
The clothes I'm wearing, I borrowed from Junpei. And the clothes he's wearing are mine. We had a little swap.
That's ridiculous. Impossible.
So, you're saying I'm not Santa?
Of course you aren't.
Why? What makes you so sure I'm not Santa?
If you were Santa, then door 3 wouldn't have opened for us just now. 1 plus 7 plus 8 plus 3 equals 19. 1 plus 9 would be 10. The digital route would be 1. But the 4 of us just opened door 3. You can't possibly be Santa. Your bracelet number isn't 3.
It's 5, right?
Oh, that's how he was about to tell us all apart with the bracelet numbers. Only then, when it was too late, did Ace realize his mistake. He set his jaw and glared at Junpei.
You're exactly right. My bracelet number is 5.
As he spoke, Junpei lifted his wrist up to show everyone the bright red 5 on his wrist.
Sorry, Ace. I tricked you. Of course, I'm not really Santa. I'm Junpei. Who could possibly think I was? It's obvious I'm not. To think I was? Ridiculous. But I guess you couldn't see just how obvious it was. I asked you before, didn't I? What makes you so sure I'm not Santa? And you answered. If you were Santa, then door 3 wouldn't have opened for us just now. Most people wouldn't say something like that. The first thing that would come to anyone else's mind wouldn't be the bracelet number. There'd only be one thing they'd say. One sentence. You don't have his face. Ace, you have prosopagnosia, am I right?
Junpei's voice was quiet and calm. He knew the truth, so did Ace.
Prosopagnosia?
The others looked confused.
What's that?
No clue.
Prosopagnosia is...
He heard Lotus begin to explain it to them. Ace glanced at him and turned back toward Junpei and sighed.
Very well. I confess. I have prosopagnosia. I cannot differentiate human faces. Is that what this was about?
I want to see what Junpei leads up to this. Calling out Ace on his condition, what is that going to lead to, right?
You want to mock me for my disorder?
No, not at all. I'm not making fun of you at all. In fact, I feel kind of bad for you. No, the reason I brought this up is that there's an excellent chance the person who killed Snake has prosopagnosia.
Ace's face tightened, his eyes narrowed.
What do you mean?
Junpei leaned casually against the iron piping of one of the beds.
I'll just come right out with it. I think it was you, Ace. You killed him.
Junpei was suddenly aware of 5 pairs of eyes on him. He had their undivided attention now. The room was grown very, very quiet. Junpei took a deep breath.
That's ridiculous. What possible evidence do you...
I have 3 pieces of evidence. The first, think back to a few hours ago. You made us argue over the 3 doors here in the big hospital room. There was no way all 7 people could go through them. Lotus suggested that we sacrifice one of us.
Lotus looked away awkwardly. Junpei glanced at her and continued.
Then you, Ace, said, I'll stay here. Why would you say something like that? It's pretty simple, really. You didn't want us to see the dead body in the shower room. You see, if Ace stayed behind, there were only 2 doors the rest of us could go through. Doors 7 and 8.
I mean, that is a point, but it's also kind of reachy.
There was no way we could get through door 3, the shower room. You knew that, didn't you, Ace? That's why you volunteered to stay behind.
Come on now. I think that's going a bit far. I can understand if you're jealous of my bravery, but please don't devalue my actions. I only wanted to save the rest of you. Surely you can understand my altruism.
Altruism, huh?
Junpei stared off in the darkness at something very interesting and lazily began to dig a persistent bit of wax out of his ear.
You already knew, didn't you? You knew that whichever doors we took, eventually we'd end up back in the big hospital room.
What on earth are you saying? Of course I didn't know that. How could I have?
Really?
Yes.
Bleeding was not something that hurt from Ace before. Junpei pulled a piece of wax from his ear, glanced at it, flicked it off into the darkness.
Oh well, that's cool. I've still got 2 more pieces of evidence that say you're the killer. The second is that, as I said earlier, you have prosopagnosia.
Then you mean to imply that a person who can't distinguish human faces must be a bad person? Junpei, they call that prejudice.
No, I am not that stupid.
Then why?
Well, before I explain, I suppose there's something I should tell you. The corpse in the shower room. It's not Snake's.
What?
Ace's face went pale. Oh, are we getting him? Wait, don't tell me Ace is... I know he's the CEO of the pharmaceutical company and everything, but... The others look confused as well. If the body wasn't Snake's...
I didn't put it together right away, but there was something Clover told me. She said that Snake's left arm was prosthetic. He'd lost his real arm in an accident. But the body we saw in the shower room, let's call him Guy X. Guy X's left arm was definitely flesh and blood. In other words, Guy X couldn't possibly have been Snake.
Oh God. No. That's impossible.
Wait, what? Ace started muttering deliriously to himself, shaking his head back and forth. Junpei was long past caring.
Let's say, hypothetically, that the killer didn't have prosopagnosia. If that were the case, he would immediately realize that Guy X wasn't Snake. Even if the clothes were the same as Snake's, their faces would be completely different. It would have been obvious they were different people. And yet, they still killed him. Why? Why would they kill a stranger who'd only just shown up? On the other hand, if the killer did have prosopagnosia, it makes sense. They thought Guy X was Snake and killed him.
Wait. Wait just a moment. Let's say you're right, and I mistook Guy X for Snake. Even if I did, I would have had no motive to kill him. Why would I want to kill Snake?
I can think of at least 2 motives. 1, Snake knew about your past. If he ever revealed what he knew, that would have been really bad for you. You really didn't want that to happen. So to make sure Snake's mouth stayed shut, you killed him.
True.
2, Snake had a grudge against you. You knew that, or at least you could have easily assumed he did. Even without exposing your identity, he was a threat to you. You never knew when you might be attacked. You couldn't ever let your guard down. Every moment was a moment he might try something. You didn't want that kind of danger hanging over you. So you...
Hey, hold on a minute.
For the first time since the beginning of Junpei's explanation, someone besides Ace spoke.
What's the past that Ace wouldn't want us to know? Why did Snake have a grudge against him?
Look at this.
The note. He handed Santa a small piece of paper.
What's this piece of paper?
Santa squinted at the paper and began to read.
The Nonary Game was played once before 9 years ago. The person with the number 2 bracelet attended the game 9 years ago. It was planned by the following 4 people. Cradle Pharmaceuticals CEO Gentaro Hongo. What is this?
I'm gonna pronounce his name as Hondo. Oh, sorry about that, Hongo. That's his name. His eyes met Junpei's.
It's the message from Zero. It was in the safe in the first class cabin.
Then suddenly,
Give me a break!
Ace's face was red and shaking. His voice was full of fury, tinged in desperation.
That paper is a lie! Someone is trying to frame me!
Me. You said me, right?
Junpei's eyes narrowed. The trap began to close. We found out his name! He immediately went off because his name was heard. Ace inhaled sharply. His eyes flickered off of Junpei to anything else.
Wouldn't that mean you're admitting you're Hongo, the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals? Or am I mistaken?
It was as though a switch had been flipped. The color drained from Ace's face as he realized what he had done. His eyes went wide.
Very well. I admit that much. I am certainly the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical, Gentaro Hongo. So what if I am? I don't know anything about this Nonary game that supposedly took place 9 years ago.
That's false. It was approved by 4 people.
Everything on that scrap of paper is bullshit. Someone is trying to set me up, you see? First of all...
Ace stammered as he tried desperately to work himself to a more tenable position.
Junpei, you're claiming I did this all by myself. Think that over, all right? How could I have killed Snake all by myself?
Not Snake. It was Guy X.
I don't care who it was. You said the killer put this other man into door 3, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Then I couldn't have possibly done that alone. I couldn't have opened door 3 with only myself and Guy X.
Nope. You could have.
Huh?
What?
Ace's face was tight and his teeth were clenched. Junpei fixed him with a level stare. The trap was about to close.
Actually, Ace, when you were unconscious, I took something from you. Remember when you were injected with that anesthetic and fell asleep in the big hospital room? Yeah, back then, I took this.
Junpei put his hand to his pocket.
No! You couldn't have!
Ace's right hand moved. Junpei smiled.
I got you, Ace. Your right hand there tells me all I needed to know. You want to tell me what you were so worried about? What's in your pocket? It's the number 9 bracelet, isn't it?
Ooh.
Ace, Guy X, and the 9th man's bracelet. That was all you needed to open door 3.
1 plus 2 plus 9 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3.
That's how you killed Guy X all by yourself, Ace. All you needed was the number 9 bracelet in your chest pocket.
Ace lowered his hand from where it stopped, halfway to his pocket. Whoa! Looked down at the floor, his face hidden from Junpei. All he could see was a corner of Ace's mouth, twitching like a dying fish.
If you want to play innocent, that's fine by me. Go ahead, tell me. I don't have the bracelet, if that's what you want to do. But if you could take off your coat and hand it to me, I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, we'll have to take it from you by force. Right, 7?
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure.
Oh, you don't want to mess with 7. 7 cracked his knuckles with a sound like gunfire. Well then. Ace roared with laughter. He threw his arms wide and his head back and laughed, filling the room with a sound that scarcely belonged there. Then it stopped. His arms came down and his head dropped to look straight ahead at Junpei. Okay, that's a scary Ace. That's a very scary Ace. Look at him. Look at those eyes. Oh god, he's gonna kill us. His face was flat and cold, devoid of any emotion.
Well done, Junpei.
And his voice changed.
As you so correctly deduced, I have the number 9 bracelet. I retrieved it while we were searching for the missing hardware for the Red. I left the room I was supposed to search and headed to the first-class cabin on B deck.
His voice showed no emotion, no sense of remorse or interest. It was almost bored, as though he were reciting an especially dull corporate letter.
My purpose was to obtain the number 9 bracelet. 9 is a potent ally in the Nonary Game. Adding 9 to any set of numbers won't alter the digital root.
1 plus 9 is 10, 1 plus 0 is 1. 2 plus 9 is 11, but 1 plus 1 is 2. 3 plus 9 is 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. Interesting.
As you can see, 9 is a very useful number here. With it, one can go anywhere, with anyone. It is, I suppose you could say, a game changer. So I made for the first-class cabin to obtain it. In mere moments, I successfully acquired the number 9 bracelet. There was also an unexpected bonus. The knife the 9th man had used.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I quickly pocketed both of them and left. I made my way back to where I was expected to be.
Oh, you son of a bitch! He killed Clover. He killed Clover.
That's when I ran into Snake. Well, this guy X, actually. I spotted him ahead of me. He was heading for the large hospital room and hadn't noticed me. The man wearing Snake's clothes arrived at door 3. When he stopped, I walked up behind him and called out, "Snake." He turned around. He said nothing. His mouth simply hung half open. He seemed dazed somehow, almost like a man half asleep. Perhaps he had been drugged. It wasn't important. I tend to gloss over little things like that. I was certain that man was Snake. I knew Snake had taken part in the Nonary Game 9 years ago. Being blind, it made sense that he didn't recognize me immediately upon our first meeting. But why then hadn't Snake said anything to me later? Surely he hadn't forgotten what had happened to him in the Nonary Game.
Wait, don't tell me he's implying that Snake is 0. Could he be? He could be working with multiple people then, right? Would that be it?
But not once did he attempt to confront me. Did his lack of sight prevent him from fully recognizing who I was? Or perhaps Snake had conspired with Zero to deceive me? Regardless, he was a threat, and it was better to deal with him sooner rather than later.
Oh, lovely. Yet another video gets demonetized. Lovely. Anyway, continuing further.
I had to get rid of him before he took action. With quick thinking, my plan went into motion immediately. I held the number 9 bracelet over the Red. I waved my own bracelet in front of the Red, and then grabbed Snake's arm and shoved his hand against the scanner panel. The door opened. I threw the man through it. 9 seconds later, the door shut. 81 seconds passed.
Ooh. The man inside the door passed away.
After that, I returned to my post as though nothing had happened.
I will say that the guy X, he did write LLR inside the number 3 door. I remember that vividly, written in blood, LLR. I wonder if that's something that has to do with the further puzzles.
After conducting my own search, I returned to the large hospital room when the 1 a.m. bell rang.
As his eyes were cold, and his cheeks were hollow and pallid. When he spoke, only his lips and tongue moved. The rest of his face was eerily still. Junpei glared at Ace. God, this is actually kind of terrifying, not gonna lie. Took a deep breath, as though about the next question he had to ask. He thought about the next question he had to ask. He didn't want to. He knew what the answer would be. Just didn't want to hear it. Jun swallowed and spoke.
Ace.
Junpei.
Did you kill Clover?
Yes.
Why? Why did you kill her?
She was Snake's sister. It was possible he had told her something dangerous. Additionally, she had gone through door 1. It seemed likely she might have found it.
Found what?
Why don't you go through door 1 yourself? Perhaps it's hidden somewhere.
Someone Lotus interrupted.
Yeah, but Lotus and I went through door 1 too.
We didn't see anything suspicious.
Yes. I thought as much after I heard your report at the central stairs. I doubt the two of you could find it.
Hmm?
Huh?
But perhaps Clover was different. Perhaps she had found it. I was, therefore, desperate to find her. And at last I did, in the first-class cabin. I spoke very calmly. Did you see it?
See what?
Don't act as if you don't understand. You were in the captain's quarters, weren't you?
Uh-huh. What are you talking about?
Very well. By the way, what are you doing here, Clover?
What? Nothing.
There's blood on your shoes. It looks fresh. Did you go take a look at the 9th man's corpse? I see. Your silence suggests that you noticed. You saw something, didn't you? You saw that his bracelet was gone.
No!
Clover ran. She made for the exit, but Ace stood in the way.
You aren't going anywhere.
He caught her by the collar as she passed and threw her to the floor hard.
You're staying here.
No!
She leapt back up and darted past him into the hallway. Ace followed at a run.
Don't you run, little girl.
It was faster. Son of a bitch!
That was how I killed Clover.
His face hadn't changed. If he felt guilt or remorse or anything one might feel after taking the life of another human being, it didn't show.
You son of a bitch!
Seven's whole body trembled with rage, and his voice rumbled with hate. Sana's eyes were bloodthirsty, and Lotus's Jun's face was distorted by anger and hatred. Ace looked at them and smiled. It was a cold, cruel thing with no humor in it. He shook his head and sighed.
I admit it. I've lost. I have lost. Completely and utterly. Don't misunderstand, Junpei. I didn't lose to you. I lost to Zero, not you. I'm rather disgusted with myself for falling into such a simple trap. I looked the fool. And it was a trap, make no mistake. I was trapped and manipulated by Zero. The man I killed in the shower room, if he wasn't Snake, then I have no idea who he was. But he was wearing Snake's clothes, and that was no coincidence. He had also been injected with something that reduced his cognition and prevented him from identifying himself or resisting me. And we can't forget the components that were removed from the red before we arrived. I have no doubt that Zero planned all of this. Zero made sure I would kill that man. It follows, of course, that Zero knew everything I would do. That I would try to take the number 9 bracelet. That I would try to kill Snake. Everything.
Suddenly, Junpei remembered the paper he had found in the safe. He remembered the last words Zero had written on it. I must punish them for the innocent lives they sacrificed. This is the only warning they will receive. That innocent souls might be saved, I now state the truth. 0. And he remembered other words he heard from Clover.
I think 0 is one of us.
Huh?
One by one, Junpei looked at 5 people standing in front of him. Ace, Santa, June, 7, Lotus.
0 is one of us? No. Wait. There's one more person. Snake. The man who died in the shower room isn't Snake.
And I'm guessing that 0 has to be Snake.
That means he's almost certainly still alive. Maybe Snake is 0.
Could be.
Maybe he made Guy X wear his clothes so that we'd all think he was dead. Where's Snake now? What if he's off somewhere laughing at us? If he is 0, he must have been lying to us about everything else. Is he watching us?
This is where it gets really interesting, though.
Well, I believe I've finished with my confession. Why don't we get moving?
Are we coming up towards the end? Oh, we are coming up towards the end. Okay. Struck it out all the way through. It sounded as if he just finished doing nothing more than more exciting than describing the weather. For Santa, it was the last straw.
What the hell is this shit? You aren't going anywhere, you son of a bitch! We're gonna leave your ass here to rot!
Why? Because I killed Clover? That's ridiculous. Why are you so upset that I killed the little bitch? She was nothing to you. A stranger you only met a few hours ago. Am I wrong? You bastard!
7 roared and lifted a fist that would likely have shattered Ace's jaw. But someone else was faster. It was Lotus. She stepped toward Ace, raised a fist of her own, and drove it straight into his nose.
Blindsiding me with a punch, huh? You've got some fire, don't you? I confess, I rather like a tough woman.
Wow. Way to flirt right now. He sniffed and wiped a small trickle of blood from his nose with a raised eyebrow.
Well, maybe you'd like another one then.
Before that, let me give you one of my own.
Huh?
Lotus scarcely had time to blink. Ace shaked his arms around her and pulled Lotus back up against him. The same motion reached into his coat pocket. Oh, okay. Whoa, the fuck on. No, whoa. Oh, fuck. Ace, he is clearly a madman. Holy shit. It was a gun. The revolver. Almost lazily, he tilted it to the point of to point at Lotus's head.
If any of you so much as blink, I won't hesitate to pull this trigger. I've already killed 3 people. Don't think I'm not ready to make it 4.
3 people? What do you mean?
Very well. Let me take this opportunity to illuminate you. The person who killed the 9th man was me. Although I suppose to be more accurate, I encouraged him to get himself killed.
He did, didn't he?
While we were examining the main staircase, he came to me and told me his name. I recognized it at once, so I gave him a little push. Just a little white lie. It seems the settings for the dead were altered. Now it only requires a single person to deactivate the detonator in the bracelet. Investigate what's beyond door 5. We'll meet again later.
Oh, don't tell me. Oh my god, hold on one sec. Don't tell me the 9th man was part of the 4 people that were on the list.
And with that...
Wait, hold on. Is the file there? The file gotta be there, right? The file has to be there about... Push master 1000 instructions. Nope. Special functions. No. File screen control, map screen control, calculator control, flowchart control. No. Additional roots, Clover's note. Clover's note. Clover's note. Wait. Escape, push master 1000. No, never mind. I thought the note would be there so we could check back on it. Never mind.
Okay. Have a good one, guys. I'm going off ahead now. Well then. Why is it stopping? God damn it! You lied! Open the door, please! I'm begging you! Help me! Please get me out of here! Get me out of here! Oh my god, oh my god! There's no time left! Listen, I was lied to! He lied to me! He put me in here!
Oh, that's what he meant.
It was him! He killed me! It was him!
He didn't tell us the name though. Ooh. Every time.
I had 4 reasons for killing him. As I said before, in the Nonary game, the number 9 bracelet is of utmost importance. If I had allowed him to keep such a useful tool, he, or it, would have become a threat to me. As such, I decided that he should be eliminated early on.
2.
I wanted the number 9 bracelet. If I could manage to obtain it, I would be able to manipulate the game as I saw fit. I would be unable to acquire the bracelet unless its owner was dead. That's the second reason.
3.
Even setting aside his number, he would have been nothing but trouble for me. He was aware of my past. He knew what happened here 9 years ago. It was important that I eliminate him before he was able to disseminate this information.
4.
Lastly, I wished to conduct a simple test. A test to see if this Nonary game was serious, or a poor attempt at a joke. I needed to be quite sure. As such, I encouraged him to act against the rules so that I might observe the outcome.
Junpei glared at him.
I don't get your third motive. What the hell happened 9 years ago?
Didn't I say? The Nonary game was played. I planned it out, and I conducted its execution.
Why? What on earth was it supposed to do?
I don't really think I have any obligation to tell you that.
Ace smirked. He was trying to provoke them. It was working. Although Asa paid very little attention to Lotus after catching her, the gun had never waved from her temple. She looked quite pale, and when she spoke, her voice shook.
Hey, what's with this gun? Where did he get this?
Why don't you tell her, Santa?
Santa ground his teeth and glared at Ace.
On the other side of door 6, we found the gun in the coffin in the cargo room, right? The bastard must have grabbed it when we weren't looking.
Indeed I did. That was a pretty serious mistake, you know. Just saying you intended to leave it behind.
Ace laughed, short, derisive snort, and gave Junpei a sickeningly pitying look.
Well, there isn't much time left. I'll be off then.
Well, where are you going?
Do I really need to explain? I had assumed it would be obvious. I have the number 9 bracelet, and now I have Lotus.
9 plus 8 plus 1 is 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. Oh!
Wasn't there a door with a 9 on it in the room that looked like a church? That's where you're going, isn't it?
And how do you know that?
Santa told me about it while we were looking for Clover.
I see. Well, you are correct. That is my destination. But now I must say goodbye to all of you. Ah, and please, don't forget my warning. Move and I'll pull the trigger. I don't need her alive to open the door, you know.
As he spoke, Ace began backing toward the door, practically dragging Lotus behind him.
Shit! He's getting away!
But we can't risk it.
Junpei, Santa, June, 7 stood frozen. Ace had the face of a man gone mad. They had no doubt he would pull the trigger. Ace had reached the exit.
Now, Lotus, open the door for me if you would.
He forced Lotus to open it, and turned and addressed them at once more.
Goodbye.
Then he stepped through the door. It fell shut. In the blink of an eye, they were gone.
Damn it!
As soon as Ace and Lotus were gone, Junpei and the others leapt for the door in pursuit of Ace. But as Junpei laid his hand on the doorknob, there was a noise behind him. He looked over his shoulder. June was kneeling on the floor, breathing heavily.
Hey, June, what happened? Are you alright?
Santa ran to June and wrapped his arm around her before she could collapse all the way.
Jesus, you're burning up. Your fever's back. Are you okay?
June's fever had returned, again for no apparent reason. Her eyes were watery and her eyelids drooped. Her breath came in dry, swallow gasps.
I'm okay. Really, I'm fine.
Shallow gasps. Sorry, I read it too fast.
You should be worrying about Lotus.
She was breathing hard now. She could barely summon the strength to talk.
But
Junpei was torn. He couldn't leave June alone in the state she was in. But every moment they waited, Ace was further away, Lotus's life in his hands. What was Junpei supposed to do? June's eyes drifted to Junpei's. She managed to muster a weak smile.
Junpei, don't worry about me. I just need a little rest. I'll be fine. Don't you remember? I just needed to rest a little bit last time. So please, please save Lotus.
Think about what Ace has already done, Junpei. When he's got what he needs from Lotus, you really think he's just gonna let her walk away?
Damn it. You guys go on ahead. Soon as June starts feeling better, we'll follow you. Go!
Junpei looked at June.
Huh?
She nodded once. She couldn't manage much more. But it was all the confirmation Junpei needed. His resolve was set.
All right. Come on, Seven. We're going after Ace.
Hell yeah!
Santa, you take good care of June. I'm trusting you.
Got it.
Santa nodded. Junpei turned before he had a chance to change his mind, started running toward the door. He could hear Seven's heavy footsteps behind him.
Let's go!
Junpei and Seven exploded in the hallway, their feet pounding the metal floor as they ran. Oh, the chase is on! The chase is on!